All right, tonight we're continuing working with triangles again like we did before spring break. So we just want to make sure you remember all those properties and those things we've talked about. Excuse me. So it says, Chris drew plans for a triangular deck. One of the sides was 16 feet, one side was 12 feet, and one was 20 feet. So they give me my three measurements that could potentially make that triangle. Determine if the triangle can be made. And justify your response. This part is very important because a lot of times you guys just want to say yes or no, and justify means explain your reasoning. So we need to prove it with the math. Now, if you remember last week or the week before spring break, because last week was your spring break, we did a lab where we did the little centimeter cubes and we moved them around and saw if the vertex met and if they could make those three side lengths could make a triangle. So that's kind of what we're bringing back into here. So there was a rule that we discovered, something that we had to do with two of our numbers and compare to our other one. So hopefully you remembered that it was side 1, the first side length, plus the second side length have to be greater than the third side length. So this is kind of our inequality that we're going to use to see if those three side lengths could make a triangle, because just because you have three sides doesn't mean it's going to make a triangle. So we're going to substitute our information. The first number they give me is 16. So if I say 16, I'm adding that to my second side length, which is 12. So I'm taking the two smaller side lengths and I'm going to add together. Now I don't know if they're going to be greater than, so I'm going to make a little box. That's what we see when we compare our numbers. So this box is going to remain empty. It's either going to have a less than, a greater than, or equal sign. So we'll come back to that. And then my third side length is 20 feet. So I'm going to put 20 right there. So 16 plus 12, I add that up, and 6 plus 2 is 8, 1 plus 1 is 2, so this means 28 feet. So we can label that if we need to have our units. Compared to my longest length, which was 20 feet. So we had 16, 12, and 20. So if I add my two smaller side lengths, the sum of those first two numbers is 28. And this is greater than the third length. And that's what we said makes it true. Remember, if it's less than or equal to, my answer would be no. But as we can see, it is greater than. So it checks off on that rule. Now we can't just leave it like that. You're almost there. Justify your response. That means write it out. Prove it beyond just the math. So we're going to say yes. These three side lengths will form a triangle because the sum of the first two side lengths. You need to write in complete sentences. Yes, these three side lengths will form a triangle because the sum of the first two side lengths is greater than, we can say the third side length, or we can say the longest, okay? So the longest side length. All of this is my answer. I'm going to kind of box around everything. So we can see that this is my final answer. So looking at number 4, you're going to kind of use this same, or not kind of, you are going to use the same process that we did and determine if those three side lengths could give you a triangle. Remember, the sum of the first two side lengths must be greater. Okay, good luck.